Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we conclude the Greta Gerwig. We are talking Barbie. It was released July 21st, 2023, written by the Barbie herself, Greta Gerwig, and her Ken, 𝗚𝗏𝗶𝗴'𝘀, and directed by Greta Gerwig. I'm Colton Robertson. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And we are also joined once again by the wonderful Clare DeGennaro. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Yeah, hi. How you doing? You excited?
Oh, excited. Thanks so much for having me on for this one.
Oh, of course. How you feeling about it straight off of this massive release? Something that's been hotly anticipated for months. How you feeling?
I mean, I feel like this is such a good example of why toy companies should market things, because the marketing on this was so good. It has been the summer of Barbie. I'm so excited. I'm so excited we finally got to see it, and I just have a lot to say about it. I'm really, really happy with it.
Oh, good. I'm extremely happy with it as well. This is top 2 on the year for me. With Asteroid City, I absolutely adored this movie. We talked Oppenheimer last week, and I'm not ashamed to say that this is a far more enjoyable experience than Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I'm not talking out of Oppenheimer going, wow, that was fun. No, this is
Yeah, no. It's completely different movies, that's for sure. Like, the 2 movies could not have come out at the same time that were just polar
more
opposites.
different.
Yeah, more opposite. But no, this is, I'd say, like, Barbie probably, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it filled my expectations more than Oppenheimer did, I think. Like, I walked into Oppenheimer, like, kind of knowing the story a little bit, and, like, I was like, yeah, this is going to be good, but, like, it wasn't the movie I expected, I guess. It kind of went a different direction, but Barbie was, like, it was everything I wanted and more in this movie. I was just like, man, it was a blast. Yeah, it was so much fun.
I had a wonderful time, and Greta Gerwig, I've come to love her over the last couple weeks where we've revisited her movies, and I know they came out over the course of the last couple days, the episodes did, but I've rewatched Lady Bird like 4 times before I went and saw Barbie. I rewatched Little Women twice. Like, fucking love Greta Gerwig's work, and this one just went above and beyond as far as, I heard all the awards buzz going into it. Like all the critics were like, this movie is so much better than any of you can expect. And I was even like, like, I'm sure it'll be good, but like best picture good? Like that was the buzz it was getting. And coming out the other side, I think that as far as what we've gotten so far in 2023, I don't have a lot of competition for it, besides Oppenheimer and Past Lives probably. But, yeah, man, I really enjoyed this movie. Margot Robbie is just a wonderful, wonderful performer. I love her so much.
There could not have been a better casting of that role.
She was compared to Barbie for years before she got casted as Barbie. Like that when that casting got announced, it was like there's no surprise there. Like hell yeah. The surprise came with Ryan Gosling as Ken. And man,
even the producers knew Margot Robbie. I don't know, it was the perfect casting, but for a little, when you had to make her be ugly, in air quotes, for a little bit, or sad, it was like, Margot Robbie's not the person to cast for this. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
There was, I had heard like when this movie was first announced a long time ago that I think Amy Schumer was actually
Yes.
for the Barbie role, which I think would have been a totally different movie.
It would have been a very different movie, and it would not have been as good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, my whole thing with it too is that, I mean, I was a Barbie girl. I am a Barbie girl. I love Barbie. And I was so afraid that it was going to turn into something that was just kind of making fun of not just Barbie, but of girls and femininity and all that. Not that I don't trust Greta Gerwig, but, you know, that was just kind of the idea of what would you say about Barbie. And so what they came up with, I couldn't imagine a better story.
Oh, brilliant direction. Just extremely timely, just wonderful in almost every regard. I think it's hilarious that conservatives are really mad at this movie.
I just don't think they saw it. Honestly.
It's so interesting to me too, because I feel like a lot of the criticism that I've seen has been specifically for men, and I'm like, why are you all caring so much about Barbie? Like, you never have cared about Barbie before.
Well, and specifically the critique that it is anti-men.
Like,
all right.
It just has nothing to do with
No, it doesn't. And frankly, there's an element to it where they're obviously making fun of men. But they're making fun of those men. You know what I'm saying? Like, specifically the men who are responding with vitriol to this movie. They're making fun of those guys. You know, like, they're making fun of Ken cells, as I've done.
Yeah, they're making fun of, like, the toxic masculinity that would make you feel some type of way about this.
Yeah, it's one of those examples where it's like, if you feel offended by what you're seeing in the movie, well, guess what? You might be the problem here, guy. That's not always the case, but it's the case here.
I feel like some people just haven't actually seen the movie, and they're just going with whatever Ben Shapiro or whoever the other person is up there saying whatever they want about the Barbie movie. Like, I literally think and that was a point in the movie too, is like, have your own ideas, you know, don't just take the ideas of everyone and make them your own. Like, think about who you are and make your own ideas. Don't worry about what anyone else says. Like, that's like a very big part of the movie at the end. And then, like, everyone's like, nope, this is just the worst movie I've ever seen. I just can't even believe it. And it's like, obviously it's going to be more female forward. Like it is a Barbie movie. And, like, newsflash for all the men out there, like, the real world is, I mean, it's not far off. Like, no, I mean, they exaggerated some parts
inaccurately. But, like, I don't think.
No, yeah, it's not far off, and like, the world has been run by men for, I mean, I don't know for how long, but quite a long ass time. And I don't know. I think it's not just, it is very female forward, and I think obviously it should be. It's Barbie, but I think the ending was more of just like for society, like as a whole, instead of just like females and everything. And I don't know, I walked out of it like thinking of things I would have never thought, like, out of a Barbie movie. And I'm like, I don't know, the ending was, I had no idea where the movie was going to go at all. I thought it was just going to be like a 2-hour marketing, you know, ploy for Barbie, and I could not have been more wrong. Like, it was just so much fun, and I don't know, a story that, like, just intertwining the real world with Barbie Land. Like, I didn't even know that was going to be like a thing. I thought it was just going to, I don't know, I didn't know what I expected, I guess, but I think it was just handled perfectly, like how it was written.
They did a good job. Yeah, it's very, like, almost Wizard of Oz-esque in that way.
Yes. There's a lot of influence from, like, the early days of, like, Technicolor on this movie. You know, something that Greta Gerwig said in interviews prior is that this film was influenced greatly by the visual styles of Powell and Pressburger, who did the likes of, like, A Matter of Life and Death, which I watched last night. I told Joe about that. They did The Red Shoes, which I also watched recently, and I think that's they create this sort of, like, fantastical setting, and it feels like an imaginary world where a real person is having real thoughts, and it's sort of just it's exactly what this movie kind of puts forth, and it's extremely influenced by Wizard of Oz. Singing in the Rain is another one that this one has a lot in common with, especially the I'm Just Ken number actually has some pretty beat for beat visual cues.
50s, 60s golden age musical movie.
Yes.
Yeah, we need Greta. Get on it. Like, I mean, I think this was kind of like maybe a test. You know, I don't know. Maybe she wants to make a musical because, I mean, the musical numbers in this, like, I mean, oh my God, were they just amazing? I need a full length musical from Greta Gerwig after this. I've been belting out I'm Just Ken. Like, I sung it out of the theater. Like, there was a group, we walked out of the theater, we were all just singing it. Like,
I'm just Ken.
The amount of pink that was in the theater too was amazing. Oh, yeah. I love just seeing everyone dressed in pink.
Movie is now like when Greta Gerwig releases a movie, it is now an event, and I'm really
is now a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I'm extremely excited for that. Just the way that the rise to notoriety she's received, you know, like Lady Bird received extreme critical acclaim. Then she gets to adapt this one of the most popular books of all time over the last 150 years and do an excellent movie, and everyone thought that was great. And now she gets to adapt the biggest toy in the history of toys, you know, like and I think it's funny seeing that the lesson Mattel is taking from this is that people want toy movies.
No,
not
movies.
Yeah, not movies by women for women, but movies about toys. Yeah. That's what people want.
Let's make an Uno movie. Let's make it's like, no. Like,
Rock'em Sock'em Robots, baby. Let's do it.
Like, oh God.
Pretty realistic Rock'em Sock'em.
Yeah, a really gritty Barney film.
Did they do something like that, the gritty Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, there was when Winnie the Pooh went public domain, there was the Blood and Honey horror movie about Winnie the Pooh.
Oh God!
But it's just, of course, studios taking the wrong lessons from everything as always. No, this is the money. They saw the money and were like, "Oh shit, people want movies about toys." No, they liked the movie about the most famous toy of all time.
Yeah, done beautifully.
Yeah, by an artist with wonderful performers. That's the headline here. It's just a hilarious misstep on their part, I think. But one of the things that I like, one of the criticisms, you know, on the flip side of the anti-men argument is that it wasn't anti-men enough, which I think is that's another perspective, is that the feminism is elementary. It is not rooted in any deep thinking. And you know what? I can kind of agree with that. However, I will say there's this thing where people are trying to have their cake and eat it too, where they're calling Barbie like, this is not a movie for kids. But the themes of feminism aren't strong enough. Well, do you think that maybe that's because it's for kids? It's like an introductory level?
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. And I think, too, everyone's saying that. Your feminism should be more advanced than a movie about a doll made by a toy company. I do see how, I think thematically some things might just be a little too mature for, like, the little kids who are going to see this. But I think, this is a tween movie. Like, this is something you watch when you're, 12 or 13 and, you never forget. Kind of thing.
Not young kids. But, I mean, I thought what was the mom's name? Was it Gloria, maybe?
America Ferrera.
Whenever she was in Weird Barbie's house and gave her, whole monologue of how hard it is to be a woman. Whenever Margot Robbie was sad and depressed, and, she was like, I can't believe that you're sad right now. But, and then she just gave that super long monologue. I think I did put that down. Yeah, that's my favorite scene. It's one of my contenders. And how it just unlocked, the brainwashing went away after that, after she gave that long monologue. And I don't know, I thought that was being a dude, I don't really get to experience what it's like to be a girl out in the real world. But that was, I don't know, in that one scene, it was man, there's so many things that I just don't think about that just I don't know, women have to deal with every day.
Wonderful monologue.
And,
it's a wonderful monologue.
There's one thing Greta Gerwig's going to do. It's give an amazing actress a great monologue.
Yep, Saoirse Ronan in Little Women talking about how women are expected to be housewives and live for the men in their life, and she hates that double standard. But what she also hates is that she wants to have love and that she wants to feel that connection that is stereotypical, but she feels like she should. Like, just a brilliant writer, Greta Gerwig, and funny theater moment on that one. This is the one. I just fucking made me want to vomit. Is after that monologue, that powerhouse monologue for women by a woman. A dude in my audience, as soon as she finished, went pretty much audibly.
Oh, that's sad.
Me and Emily looked at each other and just went, "Oh my fucking God!" Damn. You know, just like. Shut the fuck up if you're in a movie theater, please.
And that scene, I'll get into my theater experience after this, but that scene, I had, like, women, like, I heard an amen, I heard, like, hell yeah, like, I heard, like, some claps, like, after that monologue, so, like, it was actually a good, like, I don't know, not any dude.
That's how it should be received.
Yeah, but man, I had a couple sitting right next to me, probably in their 30s, I'd say. And I mean, the movie was funny. I'm not trying to say that it wasn't, but this couple, they laughed at everything. And I mean parts that were just like not funny at all, like whatsoever. I mean, and it's not just like a little like chuckle. This, like, the guy was going, like that was his laugh. Like, and it was like so much, like all the time. And it was just, like, the line of Barbie, like, do you guys ever think about death? And it cuts, like, quiet. Like, you know, it, like, there's no, like, sound, like, all the music dies out, it's very quiet. He lets out, like, that laugh, super long, and, like, it's the only thing you can hear in the theater is just his laugh. And then other people laughed at his laugh because of it, and, like, that happened a couple times. And, like,
same
during
guy
the time
at that moment, whenever she said, "Do you guys ever think about dying?" and it goes silent, same guy who goes pretty much later in the movie went, "What?"
Yeah, I don't know. Some theaters, it's just a gamble. You never know what you're gonna get.
It's like people are coming back to theaters, I think, for the first time in a long time, and this has definitely been a draw for a lot of people to come back to theaters. So I think the theater etiquette is just not there, especially coming from someone who, like, I've been going to movies since they reopened. Like, it's just weird vibe. For sure.
No, it's changed quite a bit.
Post Infinity War and Endgame, that changed theaters forever. Like, for people getting up and cheering, and like that, like, didn't happen. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember I went to see movies and you'd hear, like, I don't know, some claps or some, like, subtle,
when the credits roll, bro.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, now it's like you gotta, I don't know. There's just a different kind of thing.
That always, like, I went to the Barbie showing that was like the Barbie party, so we had, like, you know, everyone was dressed up. It was packed. It was like a Marvel premiere. But it was pretty much, you know, respectful as long as you can audibly react to things, but, you know,
in the right moments, you know, like that's
cheers. It's kind of nice, but, like, you know, just
there's not I adored this movie, but there's not a moment in it where I felt like I needed to express myself to the rest of the people in the movie theater, which is what this gentleman 2 rows behind me certainly felt like doing.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, man. When he said pretty much, I about fucking lost it. I was just like, oh my God, dude. Nobody has ever missed the point more. Like, as a dude saying that in that moment, just shut up. Just shut up. Don't, like, it's okay. You can sit in silence for a second. You know, you don't have to talk through vulnerability every time. You can just sit with it a little bit. That person had a great time, and I'm glad they had a fun time. So, like, it could have been much worse. There could have been someone audibly reacting in a negative way, which
that was Yeah, that was my thought, is I like, these people were laughing at everything, and it was annoying at some points, but then I'm like, man, they're enjoying the hell out of this movie. Like, they're having a blast with this movie. And that's what I, like, kind of thought in the back of my head. I'm like, I wish I could enjoy a movie this much. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time myself, but man, these people are like, they're on cloud nine. Like,
their life.
yeah, I don't know. But
yeah. I had a great time with this movie, and it was mostly the visual experience of this movie, directed by Greta Gerwig, cinematography by Rodrigo Prieto, who is actually going to be doing Killers of the Flower Moon also. So got a lot to look forward out of that gentleman.
Man, yeah, that's some variety there.
Yeah, did Wolf of Wall Street. Very, very talented cinematographer, and it comes through in this one, man. There's some shots.
So and it's like, especially growing up with all the Barbie stuff, like that's what it looks like. Like that's what you would imagine in your head, like when you were playing, what that would look like. And it's so like every little detail, like when she's brushing her hair, but she's not actually touching her hair. When
the shower, the water not running. Yeah,
the water not running. Her 2D pool that she goes in with the slide, like. Just
the milk pouring, pouring it, but not actually pouring it. Like the like some things were real, but then not. Like and like I have a little niece, and she has a Barbie dream house in like her playroom here, and like it looked almost like I mean it's almost like that might be the same house. Like I don't know, but it was really cool how they really went into that. They were like, no, we're like in Barbie land. It's gonna be like how you played with the Barbies. And like I never played with Barbies myself, yeah, but like with my niece now, like I see her playing with them, and that's how she plays with them. And like she does have a weird Barbie already. Gotta have a weird Barbie. Yeah, cut the hair was cut first. I think that was the first thing that was done, and then markers all over, like makeup was her. That's what she thought. She was giving Barbie a makeover.
Yeah. That's how you learn.
Yeah, you gotta have a weird Barbie. It just means you're playing with them more.
You know what? I love that it is represented by Kate McKinnon.
Yes,
performance as Weird Barbie.
That was awesome.
She's a perfect casting for that role. I mean, my God, and that's what's so great about this movie is that like in something that could have been taken as unseriously as something could be taken. Mm-hmm. They took this extremely seriously, and like every movie, every single role felt like it was designed for the person playing it. America Ferrera was incredible as Gloria, Margot Robbie again incredible as Barbie, Ryan Gosling as Ken. People are like, there's so many people I would have rather saw in that role. Will Ferrell as the CEO of Mattel is spot fucking on. That's his bag.
It is.
That was awesome. No, and like it is interesting how they portrayed Mattel. And like how it like cubicle, super just big conglomerate, like I wonder if they if they had to like
they did.
They had to be okay with being portrayed like that,
That was the one part of the movie that felt a little bit weird to me tonally, because you go from Barbie Land, which is so beautiful and stylized and like out of this world, and then you go into the real world. And they're in Venice Beach, and like everything feels pretty realistic. And I think that was tonally that made sense that there's such a shift between those two worlds. And then you get to the Mattel headquarters, and it's back to that very like stylized, very unrealistic, very like almost magical kind of feel. And I think that was the only point in the movie where I was like, this doesn't totally seem to make sense to me, because you'd think that you'd want it to be hyper realistic just to
yeah.
And I think it's because Mattel was like, we have to do this in a way that's very, like, not actual Mattel headquarters. And the president of Mattel was involved in the making of the movie. I did that.
Okay. 100%. The Mattel side of the storyline is easily the worst part of the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense.
It doesn't need to be here either.
Yeah.
The way that it kind of resolves itself, where you could that's the only time where you could feel studio interference hard, is the way the CEO is like, kind of like he's trying to be a good guy, but he's also not a good guy, but he's trying to be a good guy. No, he's not. He's just a bad guy. That's all.
Women work for us. There was a woman CEO, and then one more.
There was another woman at some point. That's
at least
two.
Yeah, like I mean, like I guess to get like the jabs in there, like there were like oh, like no, that's a dumb idea, and then the guy behind like, oh no, that'll make money. He's like, oh, great idea, you know. So like I guess they had the like capitalism, like, you know, big mega corporation jabs thrown in there, but
it just wasn't consistent enough.
Yeah.
I just think it would have worked better if it was just a very like boring office. If Barbie walks into Mattel headquarters and it's just a boring office with a bunch of guys in the corner office, and it's like, oh, this is what Barbie Land came from. Like, I think that it didn't make sense because it made me feel like Barbie didn't actually experience the real world, and so the ending was then like, okay, I still buy it. I still buy that she wants to be human, but it was just a weird tonal shift from what I thought would make the most sense of her in the real world.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Because the like cubicle side of the Mattel headquarters was like, that's relatively on point, but then you get into that the boardroom,
the back rooms.
That okay. It wasn't like
the window isn't even showing what's actually outside. It becomes like a mythical land again, and that's the only time where it's
like
kind of
inconsistent.
Like,
but then wasn't the city
like, is Mattel a magic hub? That's why Barbie Land's a thing. It's not really fleshed out. And then Ruth Handler's there, and it's like, but she's been dead a long time. Like,
she's been kept in a back room. Yeah. So, and that's something too that like I never like. I don't think this movie needs to justify things like that. In fact, I really enjoy that they don't. You know, I like that there's no explanation why if you take this route to the real world, you just end up in the real world, and if you take it backwards, you end up back in Barbie Land, and that's all that is. You know, I'm 100% cool with that. I'm cool with Ruth being in a back room and stuff. It's just that like when you are portraying like that has to be the case, that there is some sort of magic thing going on at Mattel, which is like,
yeah.
You know what it kind of reminded me of, and maybe it's just because Will Ferrell is a part of this, but like an Elf, when he goes from the North Pole to like New York City, like that I think would be like the kind of dissonance that you need. Like, oh, it's literally claymation, and then he's just in an office building in New York. Yes. I felt like that would probably have worked better.
Yeah. There were a lot of
that's
movie
100%.
references.
Yeah.
Like the movie references in here were actually pretty cool. Like the opening, a lot of like there were some people were like I heard, like, is this Barbie? Like, at the very beginning, like, the 2001 A Space Odyssey opening, and, like, some people were like, are we in the right theater? And then, like, then the narrator started, and, like, it made more sense. But, like, I thought that was really cool, how, like, they paid homage to a lot of, like, really big movies, like The Matrix, the heel and the Birkenstock, you know, choice that she was given. It's like, no, okay, actually, let me do this again. You're not actually, there's not actually a choice. You're supposed to take the Birkenstock, obviously. Come on, Barbie.
No, I'll take it. I want to go back.
No, I'll take the heel.
I don't want cellulite. That's not something I want.
I was like, I can't imagine leaving Barbie Land either.
Yeah, right. Yeah, leaving Barbie Land for the real world. Fuck no.
I wish I had a morning like Barbie did. Like,
I wish I got out of bed. Ken's in Barbie Land, bro.
Oh, dude, if I could just do beach all day, every day. Oh my god,
if my job was just beach.
It's not lifeguard. That's a common misconception. I'm
not surfer either.
Just beach.
And it is not lifeguard. Ryan Gosling's comedic cadence is so fucking good. That dude is so funny. I
love him, and I feel like in terms of Ryan's, he's always gotten overshadowed by Reynolds, and I've never understood that. Because I truly believe that Gosling could do Deadpool, but Reynolds could never do Ken. Never.
Ooh, that's a good take. That's a really good take. Yeah.
I think he's a really good dramatic actor too, Ryan Gosling. And he's so funny. Like his comic timing is just.
Oh, and that's the thing is that like I knew Ryan Gosling from a young age because of The Notebook and the likes of that. But then in the last decade or so, you get Crazy Stupid Love, and then you get The Nice Guys, and then you get Barbie, where he is so fucking funny in all three of those. And then just sprinkled in there one of my favorite movies of all time in La La Land, where he's also giving a great performance. Like, just a wonderful filmography. Blade Runner 2049. I'm not a huge fan of the movie, but he's really fucking good in it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's great.
Dude's got the chops. And Margot Robbie, the way that her career trajectory has gone, dude, she is also incredible. And she's, I think, more so than she's ever gotten a chance to show off. She got a chance to show off some comedic chops once again with Barbie.
Yeah, she's just a great choice for Barbie too, because I think on the surface you see her as just like a very beautiful woman, but she has so much talent and so much craft behind what she does, and she has a range too. I mean, she was Harley Quinn.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly.
no, I think I was debating like on performance. Like, I'm like, does it maybe go to Ryan Gosling? And I'm like, no, that just, for one, doesn't even feel right. Like, no, I was like seeing if anyone beat Margot in here, and I think Margot gets the performance, but the character is where I'm going back and forth. I mean, Ken, like, Ryan Gosling was just so funny, and like, I mean, just like his character development, I thought was just the funniest part of the movie. Like, when he's in the real world and like Barbie's just having it rough, you know, I mean, she's just getting catcalled, just like, it's rough. Ken's like, all right, just go take a walk, you know, and he's having the time of his life. He's like, oh my God, the real world's amazing. Someone even asked me for the time, you know, like, and he gets back to Barbie Land and like he says that someone even asked me for the time. I'm like, what? No way, you know, like, even like something as simple as that, and like the patriarchy, how he's like, yeah, whenever I figured out it just wasn't about horses, I kind of gave up on it, you know, like how just simple like their mindsets were. I thought Ryan Gosling just killed Ken. Like, I mean, oh my God, he did such a good job.
He gets my Ryan Gosling. The only nod I'm giving him is my line. I'm giving him my line because the delivery of it is one of my favorite comedy beats of
his
all
line
time.
readings in this movie were insane.
They were peak. Whenever Barbie returns to Barbie Land and she goes to apologize to Ken and is like, I want to be your long distance, low commitment, whatever the fuck girlfriend. And he's like, would you give me a second? And then he walks out of sight and just yells, "Sublime!" I fucking love it.
Did he ad-lib that?
Yeah,
like that's not in the script.
That had to be the case.
I don't know. I like to think that I feel like Sublime isn't even a word that Ken would know.
No, yeah, like that's Ryan Gosling just doing what he wants with it, I feel like. And if it's not, respect to Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach for that beat, because that is so fucking funny. Him just delivering "Sublime!" That's my favorite line. No doubt. But I am gonna go Margot Robbie for the performance as well. What about you, Claire?
Performance? I actually want to give it to America Ferrera.
Good.
Ooh, okay, glad she's getting flowers, because that...
Yeah, she was, I mean, because I haven't seen her, she used to be in everything when we were kids, but I haven't seen her in a long time, and yeah, I don't know if you all caught that little Gotta Kick It Up reference at the end. Have you ever seen that Disney Channel movie?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, so America Ferrera is in a Disney Channel original movie from, like, probably the late 90s, about a cheerleading squad, and their motto is, like, "Si se puede," which I guess I never knew was like a political thing, but yeah, so that reference, I was like...
that's what that was. Yeah, I did...
They snuck in a 2001 DCOM reference into this movie, and that's when I felt the most seen I've ever felt in my life.
Right.
But I missed her. I forgot how wonderful she was, and I hope that she's in a lot of now.
I love America Ferrera. I'm split for character between Barbie and Gloria, because America Ferrera is fantastic in this movie, and you know, she was, like you said, she was in everything when we were kids. You know, like I remember all the time, my mom loved Ugly Betty.
Yeah,
she loved Ugly Betty, and when I was a young kid, it was always on, and I knew America Ferrera from like a young age, so seeing her in this years later, and I've watched a few episodes like Superstore, you know, like that's a really popular sitcom lately. She's just extremely talented, and I like to think that she's about to have like a moment, you know, like because she deserves it. She's been an incredible actress for a super long time, and you know what? I will give her character, because Gloria was just a wonderful, wonderful addition to this movie, and it's kind of the beating heart of it.
Her story was really good, and like honestly, probably I don't know. It might be maybe the best part of the story. Like, just like her daughter, you know, being the like you expect, Barbie that's the thing that she needs to fix when she goes into the real world is the daughter, and like you know not playing with the Barbie anymore. But then it turns out no, it's Gloria, and it's her. Like was she just like a secretary or something? Like and like she what? But she had her own drawings, was that just like on her own time?
Yeah,
or was that like
I think that she would show it to people and they would think that it was weird, and so she never grasped. But I love that it was like the mom being sad that like her daughter was growing up, and that was what Barbie had to fix. Because I feel like there was a lot in this movie that was geared toward like the millennial age, because that's really like people who were playing with Barbies, but that was kind of the shift of like maybe Barbie isn't good for girls. That's kind of like the shift that I grew up with. So to see that it was like she never really let go of like that little playfulness and that girlishness, and like how she's wearing that gray suit but she has her pink sneakers on, like there's that like undercurrent of the femininity. So yeah, I thought that was really the best twist of the whole movie.
Yeah, and really fulfilling for the daughter. I feel like I'm like, I don't know her name. Is it Sasha? Sasha, yeah. When like Sasha like comes around and is like, "No, mom, your drawings are awesome. They're weird and dark, but like they're awesome." And like I like that. Like it was really fulfilling just to see like them like kind of embrace each other at the end, like after like the vote went through, and like just the daughter seeing how happy it made the mom, and like it like brought them closer together. And like I guess I didn't really like, I never had like a ugly cry or like a super cry, but there were a few points where I teared up a little bit, and that was definitely one of them. And like they just were embracing each other, and like I don't know, I feel like Gloria's storyline was written very, very well. And
I had a full blown ugly cry in this
really
one. I had a sob in
at
this
the
one.
end.
And
was it the end or
the What Was I Made For?
The Billie Eilish song.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, no, Billie Eilish just has
and that's
a way.
my favorite shot is Ruth and Barbie in the void. Like when we cut to that, I got chills, and then I think that's when she delivers the line like "We mothers stand still so we could see so our daughters can look back and see how far we've come." And then it does this just beautiful montage of women living their lives.
That's
and I was
true.
like,
okay, you're right. I was crying through there.
Dude.
Okay.
It's like I was not expecting this to be the ending of this movie.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Was that also like it showed like Margot Robbie's eye like starting to cry, and then like it faded into like something else? I remember that shot, and that was almost when I went with. Maybe it was a different part of the movie.
That might have been the part when I think that was the part when she was realizing that Gloria was the girl that she had to help.
Mm-hmm.
Her memories. That's right. Okay, yeah. Okay. But no, that last scene with Ruth was awesome.
Yeah, that's no doubt my shot, and I wanted to give it some respect because that whole scene just made me a mess, and I absolutely adored it. But what about you guys? What are your favorite shots in this movie? Let's start with Claire.
I'm gonna go basic. It's the shot of her stepping out of the heel, and then her foot is still. Yeah. I mean, I like screamed when I saw that in the trailer the first time. That's so amazing.
What do you call that? Barbie's heel?
I
don't know, like pointed toe.
Barbie flat feet.
Yeah. Like just everyone like throwing up on the beat.
Yeah. Like, again, like the supporting cast in this movie is so good, save for like literally one guy.
Who was the one guy save for?
Simu Liu.
Let's talk about this for a second. What was he doing in this movie?
Bro, it's just Simu Liu in a different font, man. He's the same guy in everything he's in. It's
tired at this point, right?
I know. I was really excited. I'm like, all right, let's see what someone can come out of Marvel and do. Let's see his range. I don't know. Let's see what he can do. And like, he was just like a little too douchey. Like, I don't know, and maybe that's what he was supposed to be, and I think it, like, was.
Oh, 100%. Have you seen the interview where people are asking co-stars of Barbie who is the most like their character? Margot Robbie says Simu Liu.
Really?
Yeah, like that was her answer, which is not an endorsement of character.
Not an endorsement.
That's not good. Yeah, no.
And
but
he
the other,
said some idiotic shit in the past. That dude's I just do not.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with Simu Liu on the whole.
I
But
also just feel like he's not doing any acting in this movie.
you know who could have just destroyed that role? Raccacoonie from Everything Everywhere All at Once. The guy who has the raccoon on his head. I don't know his name, but I fucking love that guy, and I think he could have destroyed this shit. I think he could have been so good. Cause the dude's got the moves. I know that. I'm pretty sure he was in Glee for like a couple seasons as a dancer. So like, and that's like, if there's a reason you have Simu Liu in this movie, it's because he can dance. He can dance his ass off. And in those dance numbers, he's pretty prominent. I was really disappointed that he was like the prominent other Ken.
Yeah. I feel like
you got Kingsley Benadir and 𝗚𝗲𝗏𝗁. Like, there's so much.
Man, yeah, I don't know. I think he did a really good job because, like, I was watching Secret Invasion. I just know him as GRETA Gerwieck. Whenever I was watching, and like, he did okay. Like, he was all right as GRETA Gerwieck, but I think this is
He's got chops. He's a good actor.
I liked him in this a lot more.
And I like 𝗚𝗲𝗏𝗁 a lot because he was in Sex Education, and he's about to be the new doctor for Doctor Who. Like, this man's got a fucking career on the way. I love looking at the IMDb. Sex Education crossovers here. It's a great Netflix series, or at least it was for the first couple seasons. Emma Mackey as one of the Barbies, incredible. 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗁 as one of the Kens, and then Connor Swindellis as one of the executives who's just always kind of around. All of them are in Sex Education, so it was a cool little crossover there. But
yeah, I love looking at the IMDb, just seeing Barbie. Like, it's just all Barbies. Yeah.
Hi, Barbie.
And then Alan. Oh, man, Alan was pretty. I don't know.
Michael Cera's good.
Yeah, like, wasn't any huge parts, at all, but it, like,
I just love every time he rides with the Barbies. Like, that's, I'm friends with Ken. And he, like, when he has, like, that action sequence where he's beating the shit out of dudes, and he's like, I'm friends with Ken, all his clothes fit me, and he just, like, starts going to fucking town.
Keep the car running, or keep the music singing, or something like that, he says. Like, oh, man. Yeah. But no, yes. Simu Liu just, I don't know.
Underwhelming.
Yeah. And, like, the war between Kens was actually pretty cool. Like, I mean, a lot of the music numbers and, like, whenever they went to war before the beach off, and, like, they were, just, like, all the fake weapons and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, man, that was pretty good. Yeah,
I'll beat you both at the same time.
A lot of adult humor. That's why, like, I don't think it's going to go over a kid's head, instantly. You're like, kids aren't going to think about it. And a lot of people are like, no, this isn't a kid's movie. They say vagina. They say, beat you off. They have, like, a lot of these adult, like, things in it. It's like, no, it's like SpongeBob. If a kid's watching SpongeBob, all the sexual, like, there's so many, like, adult jokes in SpongeBob that you don't realize as a kid at all. But then, like, you watch it as an adult and you're like, oh, wow, okay. That's pretty nuts that this isn't a kid show. And I think that's like the perfect balance for, like, a movie that's meant for kids, but also that any adult can go in and watch and have a good time too.
I think the reason I would say it's not for kids just because thematically, I think that the content is just a little too mature to understand. I think it might be a little bit boring. I could see maybe a younger teenager, but I wouldn't say that, like, a 6-year-old could see this movie and really make sense of it.
Yeah.
Nor should they have to. Which I think is the only thing, like, if I were a kid and I were really little and this movie was coming out and I realized I couldn't see a Barbie movie, I'd be really upset.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that I don't think it's completely inaccessible to younger kids. Like, I look back on a lot of movies that I watched as a small child, and rewatching them now, I'm like, oh, there was no way I understood that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of if you have pretty visuals and fun songs and stuff like that, I think there is a certain level of just like kids can get into that. And obviously, like, story wise, they're not comprehending shit anyway. So, like, that's why, like, ultimately I think it's obviously it's PG-13. So, like, it's like it is for that age. That's the age that it is mostly targeted at. But yeah, as far as the messaging of the film, it's not getting across to a young child. Like that's it could kind of, you know, if you start watching this at a young age and grow up watching it and just sort of like forming your sort of worldview around it, it could be very beneficial, I think. But let's see, Claire, have we gotten your favorite character yet? How about that?
No, I said favorite performance, but favorite character, I'm gonna go with Barbie.
Yeah.
Stereotypical Barbie.
Stereotypical Barbie.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, she. I mean, I was trying to think of like anyone else who could do this role. Like, I mean,
it's Margot. I have to say, so like the way that I play with Barbies is that like I had a Barbie who was my stereotypical Barbie, and like she was Barbie and everyone else was Barbie around her, and she looked exactly like Margot Robbie. So it was very nostalgic for me.
Nah, I love
she
that.
was just perfect. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else who could have done it. And I think I was in between on shots because I don't really know how to count this shot. Like whenever they're going from Barbie Land to the real world, and it's like all the different. It's like multiple shots in one, but it is that like slow pan. I really like that, but I think the shot that I remember like right away was whenever she was on top of her dream house, looking out on Barbie Land, and like you just saw everything. It's before like she jumped out and like was like landed in her car, but like you just saw all of Barbie Land. Like, and I don't know, I thought it was just really nice. So like if it's a standalone shot, like freeze frame, I think that's what I'd go with. But I really like the transition between like Barbie Land and the real world, just like and like how they called back to it. You know, like everyone else that was making the trip too.
And those were toys that you could get. Like you could get Camper Barbie, you could get like Spaceship Barbie.
Oh
like
yeah, the Barbie ambulance. That's my niece's one of her favorite toys. She has 3 of them. Literally, she has 3 Barbie ambulances by accident. It was just one of her birthdays, and like 3 people just so happened to get her a Barbie ambulance, so she has 3 of them now. But yeah, no, it was. But I love like even like Ken, like after like, you know, whenever it's his house now and he's throwing out all of her clothes, but then you see like them, you see them like perfectly like freeze in the air, and it's like, buy this outfit. Yeah, and it's like, I thought. And then Will Ferrell being in there like, I thought we could discontinue that one a while ago. Or like, these are from the archives, or like, you know, or like whatever.
I also have to say, Pregnant Midge, that was a doll we had. And it was weird.
Yeah, that is a strange doll to have.
Because she had like a magnetic stomach that you could remove, and like the baby was inside. So then like she wouldn't be pregnant anymore, but then you could put the pregnant stomach back. Like it was weird. I will give them that one.
That is a bizarre toy.
And the baby was like all curled up inside the stomach, and you take out the baby.
Yeah, all the discontinued Barbies, the other ones, like the
TV
pumping up. Yeah, like boobs get bigger. I'm like, I don't know if that's a kid. You know, that's a weird kid's toy. That's really weird. The TV in the back. Yeah. I feel like there was one more discontinued one they had in
the TV
Weird Barbie's house. Man, I don't know. I feel like I'm missing another one though.
Alan.
Oh, the Sugar Daddy Ken. That was a real one.
Alan's discontinued?
Yeah.
Alan is a real one. Alan is a real toy.
Huh.
Yeah.
But he was like the 60s.
Yeah, that was a very short-lived character in the Barbieverse.
There's other Kens too. Like there's a Steven. There's someone else.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a book of Barbie history if anyone wants to see it. But
wow.
Oh, hell yeah.
And was the old lady at the bus stop, was that actually like actual Ruth?
I don't think so. I think people had said that, but I think that she's an actual actress.
That's my favorite scene.
I love that.
The bus stop?
Yes. Whenever she's sitting there, I love whenever someone takes in everyday shit like it's the first time they've seen beauty in the world. That's my favorite thing. I fucking love it. When it happens in like Soul, my God, I love that scene. There are so many movies whenever she's just looking around, she sees like the trees blow with the wind and birds fly overhead, and then she looks to her side and she sees everything she's afraid of becoming, but can see the beauty in this woman. That was the other time that I cried. Like
that
I was
was
like,
nice.
I loved that scene, dude.
And like
that was
all the while, like tears are coming down like her face.
Yeah.
You know, like she's
she goes,
just crying. Like,
she just goes, "You're beautiful." And the woman goes, "I know it." I was like, "Fuck yeah, you do." I love that shit.
I heard that scene was almost cut.
Yeah, it
What?
was. It was almost cut. It's the fucking heart of the movie, and it was almost cut because executives thought it kind of threw off the pace of the movie, which is fucking stupid. They are so dumb in every regard.
Yeah, what? Yeah, no, I don't know. It was really nice. Like her just looking up in the trees. Like, I don't know, like it really, like it was half like just up in the trees and like just with nature, like you just heard nature sounds, and then like you go back down, you see like some people having fun. You see one guy that's like really sad, you know, but like it's still like a good moment. Like just seeing like it is the real world. Like that's just, it is how it is. But no, I don't know. That's crazy. They almost cut that. I mean, I heard they did cut like a farting something. Like there was or Greta Gerwig really wanted like a
fart opera.
Opera. Yeah, I'm like, I kind of want to see that. Like release the fart cut, you know? Like, yeah, like release that. I don't know. I need to see that.
I saw people talking about the test screenings, like a few of the differences that like people who got to see the test screenings versus what ended up being there. Apparently Alan is much more prominent in the final cut than he was in the original cut of the testing of the test film. The farts were very prominent, but someone said that opera is kind of overselling it. It's like 5 farts, like that's just kind of it.
Okay. So not anything I'm expecting then. Yeah, I was expecting like a whole musical number.
I don't think it's like a symphony.
Like a whole, another musical number that we just missed out on is what like some people were like blown it up as. But okay, it's probably just like a one joke that was done in there or something. So I was trying to think, is like, could they even fart? You know,
no, they don't have like, that's the thing, is that it would have had to have been real world people doing the fart opera, which probably like there was probably a logic hole in it if it was in Barbie land, you know.
Maybe Ken hears a fart in the real world. He's like, I don't know what this is, but it was so funny. Like it was the funniest thing I've ever heard. And he comes back and they just try to replicate it, but they can't. I don't know, or something like that. But no, I love like Ken just absorbing everything, just being a man, like a man, you know, he's just...
Yeah, everything he has perceived masculinity to be is hilarious.
I'd like a high-paying job and, or whatever, and is like, oh, well, you know, you usually need a PhD or whatever, and he's like, but I'm a man. You know, he's like, but isn't that enough? You know, like, I don't understand. Him going through the real world was just hilarious. I don't know. I love Ken. Like Ryan Gosling was just amazing in this. And like the fact that he owned it, like in all the interviews for like the movie, he was still playing Ken in those interviews. Like,
man. There's an interview he did that has not left my mind where he's just like talking to the camera and taking the quote out of context without seeing the way he's delivering it is already funny, but then watching him go, they're kenning all over each other. They're kenning everywhere. Everyone is kenning. And he's like holding back laughter as he's delivering this little, he's like, I mean, they're kenning. What can you say? They're kenning all over each other. And he like starts to giggle. Like it's so fucking funny.
Ken needs 2 pairs of sunglasses, one to hide your own sadness and the next one mirrored to reflect Barbie's greatness back onto her. Like, I mean, just like everything he said in interviews were like, it's not in the movie. Like he's just playing Ken. Like he's just, I don't know. Yeah. Like Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. Like there's just perfect casting for this. And I love the comparisons people are making to like Christopher Nolan and Greta Gerwig. Like, and also now we just got off of our like Nolan spotlight, and like now we're in the Gerwig, like how Nolan started out with, you know, his movies he wanted to make, and then he got a big franchise movie with Batman, you know, and that was, you know, his start, and you know, like, and they're thinking Greta's following like a similar path now that she has, you know, a big IP movie with Barbie. Her next movie is going to be, I don't know what, I guess, but like people are like, I don't know. I think her rise has been faster than Nolan's though. Like, I mean, she's taken over now. Like she has won the summer. Like that's for sure. Greta Gerwig she won this year. She has the blockbuster already like past 500 million or something like that.
It's past 700 million.
Oh
worldwide.
my god! Holy crap!
Like
It's
that's
the highest grossing film by a female director.
Is it gonna make $1 billion?
Oh yeah, that Barbillion
Oh
is easy.
Barbillion. Oh
yeah,
man.
it's they're 100% going to get $1 billion. It had the biggest second weekend in Warner Brothers history.
Wow.
Like we're talking every Batman movie ever. It was previously The Dark Knight had the biggest second weekend ever. Barbie now has the biggest second weekend ever.
Wow.
The numbers Oppenheimer and Barbie are putting up right now are fucking insane. Like second weekend they dropped 45% ish each, like sales from first week to second week, which is insane. For comparison, I'm pretty sure like Quantumania dropped like 60 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 dropped like 55 ish. Like it's like they're people are seeing these movies, and that's super fucking cool, man. Like I just love that.
It's very organic the way that came about too. It was like just kind of latched onto this idea of Barbenheimer and
yeah, like I don't think they could have planned it out more perfect.
Like that.
Yeah, like at first I'm like, oh, this is actually like terrible. Two big movies being released at the same time that are so different. Like that's just going to be like it's going to take away from both movies. But if anything, I think it just fueled.
No, it's the biggest dual opening movies ever.
Yeah. Like, don't make more movies about toys. Just put two big movies, release them on the same day, and have a marketing war, and then everyone will just the marketing does itself. You know, like I mean, everyone was obsessed with Barbenheimer.
Always be funny to me that Warner Brothers was trying to kind of fuck with Christopher Nolan by releasing Barbie on the same weekend, and then they ended up accidentally boosting his film like crazy.
Because to be honest, how many people were going to see that the first opening weekend? Without this type,
Oppenheimer,
they were not.
Years down the line, you see on TV. Not that it's not good; it's just something that like you're not going to sit 3 hours in the movie theater.
No, yeah, like I said this on our Oppenheimer episode. That movie does not make the money it makes unless the Barbenheimer moment happens. Like that, the fact that all this happened was kind of a perfect storm for Christopher Nolan and the way he's lining his pockets now because he's making a shit ton of money on the back
Barbie
end of the box
definitely
office.
Boosted Oppenheimer, but I think Barbie would have still had
Barbie was gonna
regardless. Like it probably got like a little boost from Oppenheimer, just like for a couple, like a 5% boost compared to like Oppenheimer's like 50% boost that it got from Barbie. Like it's not the same both ways, but like. No, I think
nor would I expect it to be like the PG-13 accessible family movie.
Yeah,
that's what based off the biggest toy in the history of toys, I expect that to make more money than the 3-hour historical drama biopic.
Yeah, the summer
about
blockbuster.
The creation of the worst thing humans have ever created. You know, like that's not something I'd expect to succeed overwhelmingly. And the fact that it has can probably be owed to the fact that it came out on the same day as Barbie. But there are all sorts of nods I could see this getting as far as Oscars are concerned. I think Margot Robbie's a shoo-in for Best Leading Actress nom.
I don't know what her competition is this year. Who else is like? You know,
I'd say so far Greta Lee in Past Lives might be the only one that I could note as being.
Who else is even like lead actress?
That's the thing, is that like we have not gotten a ton of like Oscar worthy movies so far this year, as far as that category is concerned. But as far as that, it's her and Greta Lee right now. Ryan Gosling is definitely, as of right now, the best supporting actor of the year.
It's going to come down to him and Robert Downey Jr., and that's going to be hysterical.
Robert Downey Jr. And then like later this year with Killers of the Flower Moon, you got Bob De Niro and Jesse Plemons, and like it's going to be a crazy year. Like when it comes to those categories, but I think production design a shoe-in just based off
costume design.
If they don't get production, if they don't get costumes, like there's something going on.
Yeah.
I think if anything, I want Greta to get Best Director. There's been, I think,
love
3
that.
female best directors in all of history.
Yeah, 𝗚𝗲𝗍𝘄 I think was the last one for
Yeah.
Nomadland.
I would love, if anything, for her to just get best director.
I mean, I would absolutely adore that. I think
this year, though.
I think Christopher Nolan might have that one in the bag this year.
But also Scorsese, right?
Yeah.
Scorsese with Killers of the Flower Moon might be on. I'm
it's
like,
gonna be an
Scorsese will be
interesting.
probably nominated for Asteroid City.
yeah, I want Wes nod. There's no way he wins, but I want him to get nommed.
Yeah.
I think that Rodrigo Prieto will get nommed for cinematography for 2 films.
Yeah, that's great.
With this and Killers of the Flower Moon, I think that 𝗚𝗿𝗲𝗁 will probably get nod for Oppenheimer, and that Robert Yeoman will probably get nodded for Asteroid City. Like, there's just we've gotten a really good few strong Oscar contenders, but it's going to be the back half of the year, as long as more movies don't keep getting delayed, that we're really going to start eating on that side of things. But
at the end of the day, though, like, I like all the nominations and everything, but like, as far as who wins now, I feel like it's just like the Academy Awards I kind of don't really care about anymore. Like, I think it's just a bunch of just a lot of money is behind it, and like a lot of like is there even a real world vote aspect to it? Like, is that even like, or is it just all decided amongst so it's like,
the Academy.
I don't know, we need like a complete like real world, like, no, like anyone can vote on anything. Like, I don't like just maybe like just a poll. I don't like something that's just
if
like
that happened, Zack Snyder's Justice League would have won Best Picture.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I guess maybe we don't. Yeah, maybe that's not the best idea.
Yeah, but like there were speaking of that, the like jokes about other movies in this film. Very, very fucking funny. I thought that a lot of people are saying the Snyder Cut joke didn't land, but like it landed in my theater. People laughed their asses off at it. The Godfather joke was hysterical.
Yeah, can you just start the movie over and then talk the whole way through it? Like, no, that was perfect. I mean, like, no, yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, like
a lot of people are taking that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, nothing.
I was going to say that the people are taking those jokes, I think, in the complete wrong way, man. Like, they're making fun of the people who do this, not the movies themselves. Like, Snyder fans are all in a fucking fit because of the Snyder Cut joke, bro. They're making fun of you, not the Snyder Cut. I promise. They're when it comes to The Godfather, they're making fun of that guy. They're not making fun of The Godfather. Greta Gerwig has noted on many occasions that she loves that movie. So, like,
no one really argues that The Godfather's a bad movie. Like, I mean, it's like, that's not really an argument that's made, you know. It is just the joke was about people talking through, like, mansplaining the movie while you're watching it. Like, that was the joke.
That women can't understand that movie.
Exactly.
Right.
It was like,
or that men understand it better.
Yeah.
And I mean, I will fully admit I do talk through some movies, but it's more of like the passion I have of like Interstellar. Like, that was a movie where like I learned my lesson, because like every time I would show it to someone, I'd be like, oh my god, like you can't like
did you know ass motherfucker.
Yeah, and then like I learned my lesson.
Dropping little trivia bits.
Mm-hmm.
I do. We watched Fantastic Mr. Fox down here yesterday. Me and Emily, and at that part when like there's like the waterfall in the background, I was like, did you know they did that with saran wrap? You know, like that's the shit that like that's the shit I love doing while I'm watching movies, you know, like and every time I'm also kind of like, why'd I say that? You know, like why'd I?
Because you'd forget to say it after the movie's over, and then like
other person.
Yeah, you just gotta. I don't know. I've learned you just gotta let the person like have their experience with the movie. You know, it's like I love this movie for these reasons, but someone else isn't going to. You know,
my least favorite type of person to watch a movie with is the person who will get on their phone and then ask you what's going on later. You know, I missed this. What happened here? I don't know. That's usually how I respond. I go, I don't know. You know, like, you fucking figure it out. Play catch up, bro. This movie's been on the whole fucking time.
Do you ever watch a movie with someone, like, and it's the first time that you're both watching this movie, and they're asking you questions about it, and it's like, I've seen as much of this movie
Yes. Yeah, that happens to me extremely
I
regularly.
mean, it's like me with my mom, so it's fine. It's my mom, but like,
No, it happens with my dad. That's yeah.
Yeah.
it's a parent thing. It's like, no, we both watched the same amount of this movie.
Yeah.
Or the people that are like, oh, like they try to guess what's going on. They're like, because you've seen the movie, but they haven't. And they're like, oh, does this happen? And it's like, I don't know. Watch the movie. I bet it'll be answered.
Part of the wonderful part of watching movies is that you get to watch it happen. You know,
I bet it will be answered. That question you're having. I bet they come around to that. At least one time. But
what favorites do we not have so far? Is there any that's left out here?
I haven't given my line yet. And Claire still has, I think, scene in line as well.
Cool.
But
then let's start with Claire's scene, and then we'll do do lines after.
Perfect. My favorite scene is the entire 30-minute opening sequence of this movie. The Lizzo song that breaks the fourth wall, and you see all of Barbie Land. It is a perfect opening sequence of a movie. Every shot, it's like eye candy. It's so good.
I want my mornings to be like that all the time. If I could just wake up, wave to all my friends, go have a waffle land perfectly on my plate with the butter right on top. It was just perfect. The
clothes were all picked out. She gets in her little car.
It reminded me, and this is a wild. It's crazy that this is where my mind went. But Lazy Town, the show. Yes. With the guy that was up in his spaceship or whatever, how he got ready every morning, he flipped into his pants and I don't know, he always had stuff coming out of the walls or whatever.
This movie had Lazy Town vibes out the ass, bro. I didn't even think of that.
I love Lazy Town. I don't know why, but I was reminded of that a lot in Barbie Land. But no, Barbie Land was done perfectly. It just looked so cool, and every little I don't know why I didn't expect him to actually float into their cars or even the narrator being when you play with Barbies, you just pick them up and put them where you want them to go. And it was just oh yeah, I guess that's how they do it. But no, I thought it was it was just a lot of very funny, but then also it just made the movie look really, really cool. And it was just very unique in that sense. You don't really get that a whole lot everywhere else. But yeah, Barbie Land. Yeah, that was, I don't know, my shot. I couldn't whenever she was standing up there and it just showed all of Barbie Land at the top of her house. I'm like, nah, that's freaking sweet. And I wonder if they built a lot of that. How much of that? It
is entirely practical.
It's it.
Really?
So there's actually, if you wanted to, you know how Vogue or whoever does that open door ad, they have one of the set. So they take you all around the set, and there's something that I was reading that there is now a worldwide shortage of pink paint. Because of how much was used on that set.
Yeah.
It is 100% practical.
Wow.
Yeah, and all the shot you were mentioning earlier, the journey from Barbie Land to the real world, all that's 100% practical too. They built all that set, which it looks like they built that set,
yeah.
But it's something that would be so easy to go ahead and just throw a visual effects artist at it and go, you go ahead and paint this background for me, but they built all that. And that's I love that touch, I love a practical sense of it feels like the thing is there, and I really really enjoy that. And that's how all of Barbie Land feels. It reminded me of another comparison that comes to mind for Barbie Land was the Truman Show. As far as just the fake world that you're living in and watching someone kind of start to go shit ain't normal. Is it? That's kind of the vibe. And there's actually a fun little detail that Greta Gerwig actually called the director of Truman Show to get some advice on how to make a fake world feel authentic and sort of get that sort of touch in there. And she took it to a whole nother level because I feel like it's much easier to fake suburbia and that sort of vibe. But Barbie Land, there ain't nothing like Barbie Land. That shit is cool as fuck.
Yeah. No, that's, yeah, I mean, Truman Show, that's just the real world. They're faking the real world, not having to completely come up with an entirely new world where everything's a little bit different. But no,
I loved we were talking about the way that reality and Barbie Land kind of intertwined every once in a while. Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa House. So because Ken created the Mojo Dojo Casa House, those just started getting pumped out at Mattel, right? Like, it wasn't because Mattel decided to create this. It's because Ken decided to take over. And then they were just like, we don't know where it's coming from. Mojo Dojo Casa houses are selling out like crazy.
Yeah, that I don't know. I never really thought of the like how that worked, because in the real world, I guess if drawings were made of like it affected the Barbie land. But yeah, it goes the other way too. Like Barbie land can affect the real world.
It's bizarre. I loved the lines whenever they were like Mojo Dojo Casa House. He was like, and I think it was America Ferrera who was like, you don't have to say Casa and house. Yeah. And then Sasha goes, or Mojo Dojo.
Yeah. Yeah, but like Ken's like, well, it's fun to say. Try it out, and like everyone's like Mojo Dojo, and like, no, don't say it. Don't give them that. It's like, yeah, like I don't know. That was just great. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. How they started selling like crazy. Like they're just going off the shelves. They're just going insane.
Let's do lines though. Claire, what was your favorite line of the movie?
I love really the whole interaction at the end with Ruth and Barbie, and I can't remember exactly the wording that Barbie says, but she says something like, "Is human just something I decide that I am?" I was like, I was not expecting that from this movie, and
it's like, oh yeah. When she was like, I can just choose to be a human, or like, that I wonder if I can.
I decide that
if I can find the quote, but yeah, my quote comes right from that scene too, and like that, I mean, Ruth, like that scene was just awesome. If it was almost my scene that I went with, but it was Ruth saying that humans only have one ending: ideas live forever. Yeah, and like I don't know, it's a crazy connection to make, but like I've been really going down like this ancient Egypt rabbit hole recently for some reason, and the main like thing that like a lot of archaeologists say is that like maybe all these stories and stuff that are told about this time aren't actually like myths and stories. It's just like they didn't have any way to write it down and make it live, like make it known forever. Like they didn't have the internet, they didn't have anything. So like maybe they made these stories to pass down to people, and the way they get crazier and crazier as time goes on, because like the real people didn't know the story and like they're making up their own details or something like that. And like, so that's like, like this movie got me to think of so many different things, like the real world, how it's all like government and corporations and everything like that. And then like it got like at that line, I'm like thinking of the pyramids and like all these like weird things. I'm like, how is this Barbie movie making me think of like way more things than Oppenheimer? Like I came out of Oppenheimer just like kind of yeah. And but no, the Barbie movie is the one that just, I mean, I was just scatterbrained the whole movie. I mean, like, dopamine everywhere, just everything pink, like in Barbie Land, like I'm just having a good time, and I'm also like thinking about my own life and like the real world, and like it's like, yeah, Greta Gerwig, I don't know how you did it, but man, she knocked this movie out of the park. I'm trying to find that quote, the exact line.
Yeah, I
couldn't find the exact wording.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, I remember that was another moment that just like I was already crying during that scene, and then she goes, "So humans just a thing I can I decide I am." Oh, just tore me to shreds, man. That shit fucked me up. But that was a wonderful, wonderful scene of the movie. Just that like void, like wherever the fuck they were, beautiful, beautiful scenery. Just a bunch of. And the montage they show is actually crew members, family members, and like people who worked on the movie and the people they love being put into Barbie, awesome. Which is very, very cool.
Yeah, like that ending when Will Ferrell's like, "Oh no, you're ending. You're in love with Ken," and then Barbie's like, "No, I'm not." Like that's not my ending. And then Ruth just being like, "All right. Let me walk in real quick. Follow me, Barbie. Let's take a walk." Like I thought it was like a
Mr. Mattel, call me mother. No.
The little tick, like I just wish I could just get up in the middle of a meeting and have everyone tickle each other. Let's just do it right now. And then like
one random thing about that, did you all also think that like Gloria was going to become like the Mattel CEO at the end, and that was just kind of...
I kind of thought that's where they were going.
I thought they were going to kind of ascend her to a position of power, but it gives that staunch sort of realism again about the real world, where they're like, "Yeah, we'll take your idea, but
We're not. You're gonna be the same result. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the way they handle the Mattel executive stuff is I think it's inconsistent, but it's ultimately it's not a huge detriment to the movie or anything. It's just like, well, you're a little back and forth on the way you're handling this, I think. I loved the 𝗚𝗍𝗿𝘀𝗁 coming out of the President Barbie being like, "That's right, mother beep," like, and they bleep it out with the Mattel logo. Apparently that was a difference from the test screening as well. That was the one allotted PG-13 fuck, and Mattel didn't let them do that.
Yeah, right after that, whenever like Barbie Land's restored, they had their vote, everything, and then some of the Kens come up to President Barbie and like, so can we like have at least just one Supreme Court, like position? She's like, oh no, I can't do that. Like, no, for sure, but be like a lower court or something like that. And they're always like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. The Kens, like, I think the Ken's storyline was handled pretty well. Like, yeah, the
Barbie, Gloria, Ken, all that's good. Like I think literally everything else about the movie is handled with consistency and care, and that I think you could tell Greta Gerwig was trying to work around as much as she could, while being told what else she had to do. Which is another level of that sort of monologue with America Ferrera, where she's like, she's trying to be one thing, but she's not allowed to be that thing, literally in the making of the film. So like, it's just a real fun meta experience there. But yeah, Greta Gerwig has quickly ascended to being one of my favorite directors of all time, through her last 3 movies, and I still need to watch Nights and Weekends. But Lady Bird, Little Women, and Barbie, hard pressed for a better 3-film run from a lot of directors.
I'm seated in the theater for whatever she's coming out with next. Like, that's all these director spotlights, like Wes, Nolan, and Greta. Like, I am, whatever they come out with, I'm in the theater.
Apparently, she's developing some Narnia movies for Netflix.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
I've never gave a shit about Narnia, but I'll be there. I'm a pull up.
Saw it as a kid once, I think. I don't know.
I saw that motherfucker who was like half goat and was like, "Never mind, I'm good. I'm cool." Yeah. Like, this one's not for me. Not now. Maybe later.
I did open up my dressers as a kid, hoping I never had like a wardrobe like that you could open like that, but my parents did in their room, and I would always open it and being like, come on.
Too. That was the cool thing about Narnia. Yeah. I was like, what? If I could open a wardrobe and it's like a whole other world, that'd be dope.
Well, now I'm going to go to Venice Beach, get some rollerblades, and I'm going to Barbie Land.
The fact that Greta Gerwig is developing a Narnia movie. What was that gentleman's name that's like half goat? I think you said it a second ago.
Mr. Tumnus?
Timothy Chalamet is in there, bro. That is 1000% his.
I could see that.
Oh, that's great.
That's it's over. That is the one thing I would have wanted from this movie. Apparently, Dune 2 got in the way.
He was supposed to be in it.
If you'd have had Saoirse Ronan and Timothy Chalamet as a Barbie and Ken duo, could have been fucking perfect. Could have been perfect. But do we still have your line, Joe? And then is that all the favorites?
I gave mine. Mine was just the Ruth line.
Oh, yes.
Humans only have one ending, but ideas. Yeah. I went on my pyramid rant after that. But yeah, no, I think we got all the favorites down.
All right then. Do we have any more thoughts before we give this bad boy a rating?
Well, other than that, like, after Oppenheimer, I had that Can You Hear the Music? I was listening to that soundtrack over and over, but man, the only song I'm hearing in my head right now is I'm Just Ken. That
music number, man, was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Whenever they go to their own little void and they're having their own big dance number, but when they all like come together and it's like, I'm just Ken and I'm enough and I'm great at doing stuff. I love that part. That's one of my favorite parts of the whole fucking movie. It's just front. Like, this is a movie that I will watch an infinite amount of times. There's no telling how much I will watch this movie. And When that's available on digital, I'm buying it. When it's available on physical, I'm buying it. You know, like this is
hopefully with an actual DVD in there. You know,
yeah, not just some random fucking box like
yeah, I hope
WandaVision.
Warner Brothers doesn't go that route. No, they like there's got to be some collectors with this thing that has some. I mean, they'll
do a full blown Blu-ray release and
Yeah.
everything because it'd be idiotic of them not to. But I don't know if you've heard about like what Disney's doing. They're like in Australia, they're not even gonna keep making physical media. Like
Guardians of the
no
Galaxy
more
Volume
DVDs,
3,
Blu-rays in
the
Australia.
last one. That's like
That's
nuts.
crazy. Because how much of your childhood was growing up getting the Disney VCRs and DVDs?
I still love that. I buy DVDs and Blu-rays like weekly now. It's a bad habit, but I do it.
Streaming, who knows how long the things that you like will be available to watch if you don't have a physical copy.
Yeah,
exactly. It's why I just like every time I like watch a movie that I really like, I'm like, I'm gonna go check how much that costs physically. Because I just want to be able to have it if it goes away forever, you know, like that's a frightening thought. But man, I adored this movie. You know, I thought that it was, like I said, top 2 this year with Asteroid City. I do have it above Oppenheimer as far as a favorites on the year. I do. And I think it's surprisingly thoughtful for a movie that could have been incredibly thoughtless. You know,
Yes.
It could have phoned it in hard. They could have, but they didn't. And you know, I think it paid off in a big way, and I can't wait for whatever Greta Gerwig or it's Margot Robbie's year, man.
It is.
It is Margot Robbie's year. The fact that she was in the leading actress in Babylon, and then she had the best scene in Asteroid City, and then was the lead in Barbie, all within 7 months of each other, is like that's queen shit right there. So love me some Margot. But let's go ahead and give this one a rating. What do you guys say?
I think I'm ready. Yeah.
All right, so we've kind of switched shit up from compared to the comic book movies, of course. We only have a enjoyment and critical rating in this one. There's no genre, there's no adaptation. I think they did Barbie justice, you know. If there was an adaptation rating, I'd go ahead and give it a 10. But enjoyment-wise, how are we feeling about this one? How is everybody on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think it's a 10. I don't know. Like, because it was not the movie I was expecting. For me, I thought it was just going to be like a really fun, but not like as meaningful as it was. Like, I don't know. I didn't really expect to walk out of the theater like I did. And, but it was just also a blast the entire time. Like, I mean, I was laughing like a lot. Like, I don't know. I don't usually like actually laugh a lot in movies. I think I do like that internal like chuckle or like that one little breathe out laugh, you know, like the just simple thing. But I don't know. There were a lot of times.
I wanna take you for groundhog. That's and then it like cuts to 4 hours later and they're still performing by the campfire. Like that shit, I laughed, man. Yeah. And there's a lot of points in this movie where I'm laughing out loud. It's a very, very enjoyable movie. I'm shy of a 10. I am. I don't think I can give it that. What about you, Claire? How are you feeling?
I was gonna say 9.5.
9.5. I'm hovering around there. If I think that for me, I'm splitting y'all. I think a 9.75. Greta Gerwig, as far as what we've done so far in this Greta Gerwig, the floor's been 9.75. She's had a 9.75 and a 10. And when it came to Lady Bird, I had a tough time deciding my ranking of my Greta Gerwig movies, you know. And I love this movie, and I think it's 3 out of the 3 I've seen. Wow. I think it is still Little Women, Lady Bird, Barbie.
I think that is fair. I mean, like movies, like I cry a lot more in Little Women and Lady Bird. Like I mean, there's and it's and like more of a. I don't want to call it like a real movie, you know, because that's kind of discrediting Barbie a little bit, like that it's not like a real movie. But I guess like when you just have Barbie as like a big part of the story, it kind of, I don't know what it takes away a little
the
bit.
Movie in spite of its IPism sort of vibe. You know, like that's kind of it brought a lot to the table in a way that I never would have anticipated. And for that, like I adore this movie, you know, and I think I would go ahead enjoyment wise and put it on the same level as Lady Bird, just to kind of, cause I don't enjoy it less, you know, but I don't enjoy it more. You know, like that's how I would put it. Little Women is still easily my favorite, Greta Gerwig movie. I adore that adaptation. But yeah, I think I would go with a 9.75, and I think I'll keep track of Claire's score here as well with the 9.5. But I
think that is fair, because put it on the same level as Little Women, like that's.
I didn't like when I'm watching Little Women, bro. Like there's like a gasp, like a into my cries there. There's like I need to catch my breath, sort of. Like there's no for me in this movie, there's no Timothée Chalamet delivering the line where he goes, "You will, because that's your way, and I'll watch." When he does that, bro, I fall the fuck apart, man. That's not even close. Yeah, that's fair
enough.
The parallel of the brightness and the darkness of Beth's death
Little
scene.
Women has got to be one of the most adapted books. I think it is the most adapted book. So the fact that hers is so uniquely hers.
Oh, it's brilliant, dude. I adore that movie.
I love that movie so much.
Yeah, I can't I don't know. I can't put it on the same level as Little Women. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's just not possible.
I'll go ahead and put it on the same level as Lady Bird. And even so, I'm not like, it's a different kind of enjoyment. Like Lady Bird is more in the vein of that Little Women sort of enjoyment, where it's just kind of, it's so resonant. Like it you're watching something that feels so personal, and that kind of bleeds through. Whereas this one felt like you know, there's this. I was listening to an interview the other day with Cillian Murphy, where they're talking about Christopher Nolan and how, and again, to make these Christopher Nolan, Greta Gerwig comparisons, where the interviewer asked Cillian Murphy if he'd be interested in a Nolan Bond film. He's like, "Would you be interested in a Christopher Nolan directed James Bond movie?" And Cillian is obviously, he's a great dude, so he's very deflective. He's like, "I don't want to speak for Christopher, you know, like that's not something I want to do. Of course I'd be interested, you know, of course I would love to see that. He's got that." But he said that putting him in a box like a director for hire, it can reach a point where it doesn't feel quite as personal. And that's what I think happened with this movie, where I think Greta Gerwig did as much as she possibly could with it. And she did her best to make it as personal as possible, but it's clear that this movie was conceived of outside of Greta Gerwig. Like she became attached to the movie after it was already in development. So like, whereas Lady Bird, that was her movie. She was like, she brought that to a production company. She said, "This is the movie I want to make," you know, and you can feel that personality in Lady Bird, which is what makes me think that, again, shockingly enough, when we get to this critical rating, this movie is fantastic. I also think it's 3 out of 3 there, though, as far as how good the movie is.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point of like, that she might have wanted to make a Barbie movie, you know, in her life. Maybe she's thought about it, but like, you can tell the passion behind Little Women and Lady Bird. Like those are like,
yeah. And again, I don't want to say that this feels devoid of personality. It obviously doesn't.
Definitely doesn't. But
I think she elevated this movie in a way that it wouldn't have been elevated.
100%.
And I think that that's very important in the consideration of it. And I don't want to dismiss it completely. Like, this very well could be her best looking movie, you know, like, visually, this was pretty astonishing at a lot of points. I think that the way they shot Barbie Land and like the fantastical stuff is brilliant, but I think the real world stuff is a little dull. And I think that's part of the point. Like, I think that, you know, she's trying to But that scene where her and Gloria meet for the first time, it got a lot of comparisons as soon as, like, because that was like the first clip that came out whenever they like lock eyes and she's like, get in, and they hop in the car and they go drive. It looks like a car commercial.
That's true.
Yeah.
It does. No, yeah, that was a Chevy electric car commercial right there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like and stuff like that. I don't think there's a single scene like that in Lady Bird or Little Women that I can point to and go, that one looks worse than
there
others.
Wasn't like a mega corporation behind this movie telling them, hey, you need to market this. You need to have this be front and center, like for the shot, and like, and
that's the thing, is that in spite of all of that, she still brought an incredible presence to this movie. So, and the performances are brilliant, like we've been saying. So I'm. It's so interestingly campy, like the way that we start in Barbie Land, the way the stunts are done with like the car flipping over and then landing, like camp out the ass. Probably the most campy movie we've gotten in fucking years, dude. But I don't know, Claire. How you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10 critically? Where do you think you're coming down?
I would say the only like critical things that I was really thinking was what I was talking about with the tonal shifts between Barbie Land and the real world. I think that dinged it. I don't know how much I want this to totally affect it, but I do see some of the criticisms of like a very elementary level of feminism that they were using in the movie, so I can kind of see that. I think I would give it like an 8.5 critically.
I respect that. I'm not too far off either. I think that an 8.5 is, I mean, it's pretty damn close. What have we given Lady Bird and Little Women?
Lady Bird was a 9 and Little Women was a 9.5.
And I think 8.5 is about where I'm coming.
The ceiling is a 9. It's not. Yeah, it's not Lady. It's not even Lady Bird. And let's see, going back 8.5. That's the French Dispatch. If we're going back in West, 8.25 Isle of Dogs. Also Life Aquatic. And
I'm confident it's better than Isle of Dogs. I think that the story is really tight, except for those tonal shifts with Mattel, like that kind of. And again, that's not it's not Gerwig and Baumbach's fault. Like it's very clear what was studio mandated, and it's just a shame to see stuff like that kind of bog down an artist at work, But when you're making a movie like this, it's just a fact of the trade. So,
I think 8.5 might be it.
I think 8.5 is where I'm coming down as well.
Yeah.
I think
the only other 8.5 we have is French Dispatch.
What about 8.75s? What have we got there? Do we have any?
I don't believe so. And I don't know if I could say this is better made than the French Dispatch.
I don't think I can either. I think that they have this very similar sort of feel to them, where they've got this very stylized, like that's where the emphasis of the movie is, and the performances are all brilliant. But there are elements to the story where you could make an argument that that's where it falters, and I think that's I mean, The French Dispatch, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, we're about to start our top 100 movies here next week. And you will not be hearing The French Dispatch for about 10 weeks, That's
oh, yeah.
So, and you will be hearing Barbie on that list as well. So, like, that's the thing, is that I absolutely adore this movie. And I think an 8.5 is comfortably where I come down. But with Claire giving this a 9.5 and an 8.5, it comes to an 88% on the Claire tomato meter.
And only an 89 for us. So we're pretty close. We're
very,
very close there. 8.92 if you want to get specific for us. But that puts it a little bit below Tenet. That's like at a 9.1. Above the Prestige, 8.67. Just barely below the French Dispatch. But above Isle of Dogs, above Life Aquatic, above Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore. Yeah, I'm feeling that feels right. Not quite the French Dispatch is I think what that's the closest movie that is closest to it, and I think that's right.
Yeah, no, it's a perfectly enjoyable movie, just with some studio interference. You can feel it. And when that happens, it automatically kind of lessens the impact of some some stuff, but even so, like Margot Robbie, the way Margot Robbie brought it, and the way Greta Gerwig brought it, like it's a great fucking movie, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this got a 5 out of 5 for me on Letterboxd, though. You know, when Letterboxd ratings are different than the ratings we do on the podcast. This was a 5-star right there. Loved it. You know, so with
On
that,
the,
I think we conclude this one, right?
Yeah. The Rotten Tomatoes audience is at an 86 right now. Critically at an 89. So I think we're, I don't know, we're almost there. We're pretty much right there, actually. So I think
that's a W.
Kind of like it.
Love that.
Yeah. The Gerweek is finished, and now
we
have
have
to
is
wait.
Complete. It came and went too quickly, and I can't wait until she has the catalog the size of the likes of Nolan and Wes Anderson, and we get these 10, 11, 12 films out of her, because she's got a long, fruitful career ahead of her after the commercial success of this.
No,
and more than anything, that's why I'm happy with the commercial success of this. Is just because
absolutely give her money to do whatever she wants.
Yep, Greta is going to get the bag and the credibility with studios to do anything. So, that's super exciting.
Yeah, you're talking about how no one else could have done Barbie like Margot Robbie, but who else could have directed this? You know, like
nobody. And that's that's been my top 4 films on the year are Asteroid City, this, Past Lives, and Oppenheimer. And a big reason for that is because they all feel like the only person who could have pulled it off were the people who did it. You know, like it's there are a lot of movies that, you know, when it came to like Dial of Destiny or The Flash or shit like this, it kind of feels like you could probably throw roughly anyone behind the camera and they'll kind of do a similar thing to what got accomplished here. Not to discredit James Mangold on Dial of Destiny too crazily, but just it felt generic. It felt like generic direction, and that's kind of there's such a specificity, I feel like, to those 4 movies where it's like only the minds that made it could have made it, and I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did. But I think with that we will conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast, and with that, if you will, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content. We got a $1.50 tier that includes written reviews by yours truly. And then a $3 tier that features all our audio content. You get all our comic book movie journey through film a couple weeks in advance. That's a big sell over there. And then anytime we just feel like talking for a little bit about something that's not suitable for the main scheduled programming, and we just go ahead and throw it up over there for $3 a month. You can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening, and share this with a friend. Remember to support SAG-AFTRA and WGA in any way, anyhow you can. Just remember to spread awareness for their cause. Remember to promote the likes of the actors and writers on strike, just because, you know, we wouldn't get these beautiful films like Barbie or Oppenheimer or anything like that without their work. And we wouldn't get the trash bag ones either. But you know what? They worked on them and they deserve to be paid for that. So go ahead and, show them support in any way you know how, because they deserve it. Let's see. Yeah, we just concluded the Gerweek. So we're going to take a pause on director spotlights for a while. We've been kind of all gas, no brakes with Wes Anderson straight into Christopher Nolan, straight into Greta Gerwig. Right now, I don't think we're planning on picking it up again until Scorsese. I think Killers of the Flower Moon, I believe, will be our next anticipatory director spotlight, and we're gonna run through some Scorsese. He's got that catalog, you know. Sidewell one. We've already talked Taxi Driver, The Departed, Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street. I believe, is that it? Is that all we talked on the 52 journey through film Scorsese wise?
Sounds right. Yeah.
I think it's just those 4. So we're talking as many movies as we possibly can, except those 4 for Scorsese. And that'll be a couple months down the line. But in the meantime, we're going to continue our comic book movie journey through film, which continues tomorrow with Batman Begins, where we will again be joined by Clare DeGennaro.
That is just great timing.
I know the scheduling is wonderful. You're the most prominent co-host this week for sure. So that's tomorrow. We continue it next week with is Fantastic Four, the next one after Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
All right, so we gotta get on that then. Because that's the only one we have recorded in advance after Batman Begins, so we gotta get on that. But regardless, alongside the comic book movie journey through film, we're continuing Winter is Blooming. Our Game of Thrones rewatch podcast is going to continue on Mondays. Next week is the season 4 finale, which is another goodie. And then we're starting our top 100 favorite movies ever project.
Finally.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been Colton's had his list for quite a while.
It's just kept growing.
Got to mine. Yeah, I got to mine finally.
I got to almost 200, and that I had to cut down quite a bit. So it was a pain to cut so many wonderful movies. You know, when it comes to the 100 through 90s, we're still talking some pretty wonderful fucking movies for me. It's a pain to see some of them go, but we're gonna do that in 10 parts. We're gonna take it each 10 at a time. You know, 100 through 90, then the 80s, then the 70s, 60s, all the way up to the top 10. And we're going to start with parts 1 and 2 next Wednesday. We're going to have both the 90s and the 80s there for you. And I'm very, very excited to get that project rolling. I'm going to go ahead and just commit to the 100 I have, because this will be a revisitable topic in a year or two. You know, I'll have probably another new 50. So, because there's so many great movies. But with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And thank you once again for joining us, Clare DeGennaro. It was wonderful.
Oh, thanks so much.
Of course, and you're welcome back anytime, as always. If there's any movie you see on the horizon that you want to talk about, you let me know, and you're there. But yeah, with that, remember, peace, love, and bloom. And bye, Barbie.
I can.